Yo, what's up, everybody? I'm is J Heat Blaze here. How's everybody doing? Now, this is a follow up to a series of videos we've been doing. I'm still working out a title, but apparently, New Direction is working right now. So let me bring in my very special guest, Comics League. How you
Hello.
doing, man?
How you doing?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know what this has really been taking off. I just can't believe how because this was originally just supposed to be like a little one-off what if a few months ago, but this is actually starting to take off. So let's get people what they want.
Okay then. So, which character are we new directioning today? He's muted, but we were thinking that so this new direction universe that we're forming is basically taking stuff from the new 52 and making it work, which we're doing we're putting more work into it than DC ever did, which that 100% is that tracks for us if you guys have followed us for any amount of time, because we put way more effort into DC than DC does, which says a lot. So
So sorry
yeah,
about
go
that.
ahead.
I was just lagging. I just
Okay.
new. Okay, I just want to go ahead and make this clear in case you're new to joining us. But New Direction is like a series of like what where characters can improve with later plot points. What we're doing right now is kind of expanding on a previous idea. We're just calling it New Direction because we're still coming up with title names for what to call this little podcast. So if you see a New Direction video that's focusing on a specific character and it doesn't reference Scion, new post crisis Superman, anything like that, that's why.
Mm-hmm.
But I just want to go ahead and establish that before we
Yeah,
got
yeah,
started.
because that can get confusing.
Yeah, but this time we're focusing on what's essentially a crossover book between Wonder Woman and Scion, Fall of Olympus, Hera's Reckoning, as the title implies. Now, if you've paid attention to our previous videos, you know what this is about. But Jared, do you want to give them a quick rundown?
Of the whole Scion thing.
Yeah, just because in case
Okay, so you know that one of my pet peeves with DC is that they took the lazy road out with the new 52 Superman and killed him. So our universe is basically hinging on what happens if they didn't kill him, and instead, so what Diana does to save him is she makes a deal with the gods and to save his life, and that works. And he takes on the identity of Scion, or well, really, we're referring to him as Scion. The rest of the world still knows him as Superman. It'll make sense in a second, but essentially, the Greek gods come to Wonder Woman in so some point in the future and basically say, "Okay, time to pay up your end of the bargain." And that leads to a war between the Justice League and the Greek gods. And Wonder Woman becomes even more powerful than she already is, despite being the goddess of war.
well, this is at sometime between the Esmeralda run and I forget the title of this other group, but this is after the first
Finch,
Sun
I
arc.
think.
Finch, okay, thank
Yeah.
you. But this would be after the first Sun arc.
Mm-hmm.
And speaking of the first Sun, who would be the villain of this arc? Because this is technically Superman and Wonder Woman Volume 4.
Technically, except it's well written. I would not put Tomasi on the book at all. That's besides the point.
You are never gonna let that go, are you?
No, because he intentionally tanked the book.
That's true. I got to give you that. That's a fair point. That's a fair
Yeah,
point.
exactly. If you intentionally tank the book and antagonize the fans, I'm sorry, you're getting. If I have anything to say about it, you're off the book.
That's fair. That's subjective bias. That's fair.
Yeah, but anyway, so yeah, this would be part 4 of the series, which 100% that'd be great. So the way I see about it is you could is this taking place before the gods come to collect on their debt?
Yes, this is kind of like a team up book, kind of like to set the stage for that. You have
It's a
Superman.
stage. Okay.
You have Scion first coming back to life, meeting post crisis or pre Flashpoint Superman, having a bit of identity crisis before confiding in Wonder Woman, and that's how he gets the Scion name.
Mm-hmm. Now, okay, so the way I figured to start us off is that they're both dealing with their own type of like trauma and nightmares. Superman dying and Wonder Woman worrying about like what the gods are going to do, because she knows what happens when you make a deal with the Greek gods. It doesn't go well.
But she wanted to save him. She found Clark never told her about the kryptonite poisoning, so she never had a chance to process. It was kind of a spur of the moment thing.
Yeah, that's true. But the point is that she's worried because she knows how fickle the gods are.
And fun fact, there's in the background you'll slowly see just the realms like Poseidon, Hades, Persephone, Olympus, just all chaos all around it, just pure destruction. And the
Mm-hmm.
reason I say that is a certain demigod wants revenge on the entire pantheon.
Oh yeah, yeah. Which
If you've seen the thumbnail, you know what I'm talking about. But
uh, we're imagining him as Kratos, but it's basically the firstborn.
it's basically the firstborn. But
And the firstborn, by the way, he's called that because he's the firstborn son of Zeus.
true, true. And I'm not going to make him a doomsday stand-in if that's what you're thinking in the comments.
No.
No, 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 no. We already had one Death of Superman story. That'd just be retreading at that point.
And we already had one Doomsday storyline, which was Superman Doomed.
Which technically Scion would still have access to that power because this is right after that arc ended.
No, but he purged the Doomsday virus from his system.
But wouldn't he still have access to that persona in his mind?
No, because that was just the Doomsday virus, and when Brainiac was in the black hole like sucked the Doomsday out of him. That's comic books for you.
Yeah, comic book logic.
Mm-hmm.
But how about would you see this being a mini series, or just an ongoing to set up this invasion arc we're planning?
I would say mini to set up the arc because I'm a big believer. If you can tell it in 6 to 12 issues, just tell it in 6 to 12 issues because otherwise the story gets meandering and it just loses track of the main plot.
That's fair. That's fair. But okay. Let's set up. I'm not gonna make this completely a romance book, not at all. There's
No,
gonna
it's
be
not
some
that.
action. The first arc is gonna be amply titled Identity Crisis. I know that's a poor name, but it fits.
Is someone going
Because
to be burned alive and is Batman's memories going to be wiped?
ha ha ha. I'm
Mm-hmm.
only I'm only saying that because you'll have Scion and post and pre-Flashpoint Superman constantly butting heads, both on the field, on patrol, how to handle things. Okay, because in New 52, Mom Paul Kent died tragically in a car accident during Clark's prom night. I'm pretty sure that's what happened.
Yeah,
And
that's what happened. They died in a car accident while he's at the prom. Yeah.
and Clark, and now okay, New 50 Scion is New 52. Superman is Clark Kent. I just need to make that clear going forward.
Oh
Okay?
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Okay. Now, Clark is trying to play a big brother role. It's kind of like Anakin, Obi-Wan and Anakin in a way. Clark clearly needs a mentor. Scion clearly needs a mentor, but the way Clark is going about it is very brother-like, like he's playing a brother type figure.
Like a big brother, essentially.
Because again, he just had John just around the just before, while Convergence was going on. He doesn't know how to be a parent.
Mm-hmm.
So it's kind of a delicate balance. You got this 5-year-old John. And I know Tevye is going to go on a tirade in the comments.
Oh boy.
You got 5-year-old John just pounding around, going to school, doing his own thing. And then you got Scion, who's kind of acting like an angsty teenager, well, post-adolescent angsty. And Clark just gets fed up. Okay, by issue 2, I definitely want to set up a fight or a skirmish between Superman and Scion. It's a hype issue, don't get me wrong, but I just feel like you could really cement that brotherly quarrel if you just have them duke it out by issue 2.
Oh yeah, there's going to be a fight somehow, and that's going to be a really destructive fight. But yeah, it's going to make Man of Steel look like child's play.
And then Lois, and I know you don't like her, but I gotta give Lois a hero moment in this first arc. I gotta give her at least one. And Lois tries to put a stop to it, like you two need to stop this. I know you're trying to make the best out of each other, but if you really want to help better the world, you're going to have to learn to get along.
Mm-hmm.
And Clark, are you really going to risk putting John at risk in our new personas just because your doppelganger badmouthed you?
Yeah, that's a good idea. That works. Or
John
you
is
actually, here's the thing. Here'd be a better choice to get in between them. Wonder Woman, because she could actually stop them from fighting.
that's a little tacked on.
Yeah, but here's the thing. I don't see Lois Lane stopping them from actually engaging in combat, though.
Simple.
Like, Wonder Woman could actually hold them back like this and go, children.
But Lois can play the wife card, and Clark is forced to back off.
So can Wonder Woman in this case, except to a different Superman.
If you really just want to go for the superpower.
This is my point. A lot of roles that Lois Lane has in the comics can be served by another character.
Okay, that's fair
why
point.
I said she's not important. She's not really essential anymore to the DC universe.
Okay, so that would just be like a quick kickoff to the series.
Mm-hmm.
This wouldn't go for no more than 2 issues. Issues 3 and 4 is going to focus more on the gods. Like, okay, I'm not going to call him Kratos because this could easily lead to a brand dispute.
Yeah,
but it's essentially this is God of War 3 Kratos. That's our antagonist.
Yeah,
and if you play God of War 3,
you could just call him Firstborn. You know.
Okay, I'll call him Firstborn.
Although I think Firstborn was dead at this point because
he
was God of War. Okay, so we'll just call him. What do you want to call him then?
We can't use Kratos because of brand disputes. Mm-hmm. We can't call him Terminus.
God Killer. We'll call him God Killer.
God Killer. Okay. Okay, this is like at the tail end of the game, around the time the Titans attack Olympus. This is where God Killer makes his move. Just about most of the Pantheon is dead. Zeus and Hera are the only ones left. And Zeus had just defeated Gaia. So Zeus is just gonna, because he's the main target. He's the main source of God Killer's fury. So Zeus is gonna leave the realm and attempt to lure Kratos out. This is why he made the pact with Wonder Woman. It's another champion. It's the last line of defense, and she has the Justice League alongside her. Yeah. So Zeus is gonna dip to Earth, and Hera's in charge while he's away. Mm-hmm. And this is what Hera wanted. Wanted. Not only does she want to get back at Zeus for all his adultery, but also seize the throne of Olympus for herself and create a scenario where she be revered in her new era as queen.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that works.
It's very similar to Revenge of the Gods, but without the Lazarus Reign corruption and having it tied to the Lazarus Planet event.
Yeah, exactly. Because again, a lot of these events, I'm like, no,
it's kind of forced.
Exactly, it is totally forced. But yeah, because that's 100% what Hera would do, because she's vengeful and all the gods are prideful. So that tracks 100%. And I could see she sort of at first covertly starts to screw with Wonder Woman, like by sending certain people to like remind her that she's killed people, that she's not a real hero or something like that. Just to start psychological warfare against Wonder Woman first, to distract her. And then obviously at some point it turns into an actual battle.
Oh, so pretty much a Shazam Wonder Woman versus Hera, basically.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Okay, get it out the way. And this all okay, so what would the end of this miniseries be? Like, what would be the big climax before the big event?
Before the God War one? Probably... let me see. Oh, yeah. Here's an idea. Superman, and by Superman I mean Scion, sorry, is kidnapped by Hera.
That would be pretty hard to do unless he's bewitched of some kind.
Well, they do use magic.
A little damsel in distress, but it works.
Well, it's damsel in reverse.
Fair point.
Because with Superman and Wonder Woman, you can't do the damsel in distress trope. Let's face it.
You really can't.
So that's my thing. It ends on that cliffhanger, and then that leads to why Wonder Woman is like going to war against the gods. Like, she puts on the God of War helmet. She goes full God of War on them.
And then Batman's trying to be the voice of reason. You do realize if you play her game, you'll put thousands, if not millions, at risk.
Yeah. And she goes, that's why I have you guys. You guys defend the people. I'll go get Clark. Because trust me, Clark under her control is significantly more dangerous than you think it is.
This is only going to end badly, Diana. I warned you from the beginning before you entered the realm of Tartarus. Sometimes death is better. This is not the time for an I told you so, Bruce. Actually, it's the perfect time for an I told you so.
I like that. And he goes, I think you would think you of all people would understand the folly of making deals with the gods.
Almost makes you think a deal with Darkseid is better. Sorry, I had to crip it a Hal Jordan line in there somewhere.
Hey, nice one. And plus, it circles to like, well, it harkens back to another moment that we created in our Scion timeline.
Which one? What might that be?
Didn't they make it at least try to make a deal with Darkseid?
Oh yeah.
To not invade? Yeah, exactly. You know what I'm talking about.
That would be a later plot point after their daughter would be born, which would be New 52 Donna Troy, by the way. So be sure to check that video out.
Yeah, it's awesome.
But essentially, all right, if we're doing
this is where we could debut the New 52 version of the golden armor for Wonder Woman, because they never really did that, I don't think.
No, that was just yeah, we could. I mean,
because that's the armor that she wears in the comics if like it's hitting the fan.
But how is okay? So if she's gonna fight Hera to get Scion back, who's gonna fight off Godkiller?
Shazam! No,
oh yeah,
no. Pre-crisis post-crisis Superman.
After the Justice League gets their asses kicked.
Yes, exactly. Because remember, my idea was because the question is, if these two exist, you don't need a Justice League because you got two Supermen. So my thing was, he's there for when the Justice League either fails or the threat is like crazy, like a full-on Darkseid invasion. This qualifies.
But wouldn't that be the New 52 JLA? Because they were designed as a counter to the League?
Well, in this, it's one guy being designed in case the League fails, not necessarily if the League goes evil.
I'm just messing with you, man. They wouldn't stand a chance in this fight. They'd be on crowd control the entire time.
Yeah, that lineup would be wiped out by Godkiller. Let's face it.
Maybe Martian Manhunter.
Still, because we could say that like the God can use fire, and then we all know Martians are screwed against fire.
Yeah, so they'll be on crowd control for pretty much most of this bout.
Yeah, and then it's Wonder Woman and pre-crisis Superman versus Godkiller, and that's that epic battle.
Would Godkiller still betray Hera? Because again, he's mad at the entire Pantheon. He essentially has Kratos' origin, the loss of his family.
What if he didn't know that Hera was the one that he was working for? Because what we could make it is that Hera came to him in the guise of another individual and says, hey, you could take revenge on the entire Pantheon. In other words, she disguised herself so he wouldn't know he was working for a god.
True. And he did have a pact with Athena for a time.
Mm-hmm. There you go.
Okay, this is starting to come together.
And then as soon as he finds out, obviously he turns on Hera.
But would this be an event comic or would this be a crossover?
This would lead into the event.
Okay.
In other words, the lead-in does not end with Godkiller getting killed. That it ends with him turning against Hera and siding with Wonder Woman. And then I say we should have him sacrifice himself against Hera in the final battle of the event. Kind of a last-minute redemption.
So Zeus is completely redundant the entire event.
Well, he's a catalyst. That's the way he normally is in the comics, so. Well, actually, no. We could have that's how we get like the Goddess of Thunder, Wonder Woman. Zeus gives his powers to Wonder Woman.
You have deemed yourself worthy of this power more than I ever could. I'll admit I've been scandalous in the past, and that's caused this tragedy. But Godkiller nor Hera did not deserve this fate. I drove them to it, through my actions and the actions of Ares, leaving him unchecked. I will not beseech you the throne of Olympus. That is my quarry to resolve. But I will grant you a parting gift, daughter. My powers. And the other deities you have proved your worth to in this journey. Sorry, my Zeus voice isn't the best. My dark side's a lot better, though.
It sounds a lot like your dark side, by the way.
Thank you, thank you.
Which works, but yeah. So and then she becomes like basically the Shazam Wonder Woman we have right now in the comics. Is to give her a power boost so she stands more of a chance of fighting against
larger threats.
Hera.
And larger threats.
Because what would happen is that I imagine Hera would resurrect a version of Doomsday.
As like her final arsenal?
Yeah, her final like super weapon.
I'm gonna do you one better. Hera makes a deal with Darkseid.
Oh, that's
you know where I'm going with this.
Ooh, keep going. I'm liking this.
Okay. So Hera flees to Apocalypse at the end of the god. She used an illusion to save herself at the last second. She flees herself to Apocalypse. What are you doing here, old god? This is not your concern. I've come to bargain, Darkseid. You have something I need, and I can ensure what could you have to offer me. Simple. The key to the anti-life equation. Access to Erebus's realm.
What's Erebus's realm?
If you've read DC's, he's pretty much the manifestation of darkness and anti-life.
Okay.
Erebus is nothing but a feeble myth. A scare tactic to incite fear into minuscule peons. I will not be fooled. You'll be closer to the anti-life equation than you've ever been. All you have to do is ensure Zeus's destruction. Or do I have to resort to other means for your great prize?
Great prize. Nice. I like that reference. There you go. We all know what he's referencing.
I need to ensure a scenario where the League is distracted, and without Zeus's favor, and your pawn breaking his leash. You do not meet such assurances. I will grant you safe haven, but do not get yourself comfortable. Granny Goodness, make sure our guest is consensual. As for you, Desaad, ready the armada. We will use the old ways.
There you go. I like that. And yes, your dark side. And by the way, your Hera is actually pretty decent. You can voice a lot of bad guys.
Thank you. And sorry I'm off camera for this one. I just felt more, given everything going on with my personal life, I just felt being off camera for this one.
Okay.
But so Darkseid rallies his armada. It pretty much leads to an actual invasion of the planet. That's the big culmination of this event and the miniseries. So while the League is getting back on their feet, post-crisis Superman pretty much ignores the Paradooms and the Parademons. So you notice that, Jared?
Paradooms. Oh no.
Still a bad name, by the way.
Yeah, I know, but I got chills because I remember Apocalypse War.
It was not pretty.
It was not. They tore Wonder Woman's arm clean off.
Yeah, it's a good thing we're not in the 1,000-tier range because we would definitely get demonetized right now.
Yeah. So, in other words, it's like a post-crisis fighting him. The League actually rallies up and comes in, but it's like the strong version. It's like the strong leaguers, like Aquaman, the Flash, Batman. It has to be Batman, and Batman in the Hellbat suit. Batman breaks out the Hellbat suit.
You do realize the last time you wore that, you nearly died. I had to save my son. Now the world's in danger. What else do you have me do? This is the main reason we had this suit made. You just got your ass kicked by a demigod just a few minutes ago. I have to take the chance.
And then Batman goes, but I've never got my ass kicked twice. Whatever.
It works. It
works.
works.
It's a tough audience. That's what Batman would say.
Yeah, but it's a little corny in dialogue.
That's what Batman would realistically say, particularly if it's a Batman written by Scott Snyder, who he would be at this point.
Yeah, that is true. I'll give you that. I'll give you that. But I'll actually make a bit of a DCAU reference here, where post-crisis Superman just goes ballistic, straight to Darkseid, completely ignores everything
I
else.
feel like I live in a world made of cardboard, in other words.
But you can take it. So allow me to show you what I really am. I butched the quote, but
Yeah, and then both Supermen like team up and like beat the crap out of Darkseid. Like he's getting juggled back and forth. Wonder Woman gets in there and blasts him with lightning. It gets he gets messed up. To give you an idea, refer to Steppenwolf in the Snyder Cut when Superman shows up.
pretty much. What's so funny, Darkseid? You're beaten. I'm afraid, Kryptonians. This was nothing but a little distraction. Why would I go out of my way to conquer such a minuscule world when I have entire cosmos and a multiverse to suit my needs? It's not like you to play errand boy, Darkseid. Talk. The lasso of truth compels you. You might, poor Diana, you might feel a bit of a discomfort in the next few seconds. And then this is where Diana is in agonizing pain because again, her new powers are directly connected to Zeus.
Yeah.
And so while this is going on, Hera just goes to Earth and tortures Zeus.
Ah, there you go. That works. I like that.
And in an attempt to save himself, Zeus has to call the lightning back to him because he's technically mortal right now.
And she's back to being a regular Wonder Woman, in other words.
Now, we are going to do a follow-up actual New Direction video later on, whether or not, essentially, if Goddess Wonder Woman could work in the new status quo. Mm-hmm. But I feel like for this event, this should be self-contained and, and quickly resolve with Wonder Woman being back to normal.
Yeah, because that's realistically what happens with DC whenever they, like, give a character new powers or anything like that. Shortly thereafter, they, like, put the character back to normal.
They have some good ideas sometimes, but it just doesn't stick.
Yeah, because it's not always DC's fault, though. A lot of times it's just the fan base that doesn't like change at all.
And then Darkseid sees the opportunity to pretty much blast Diana with the Omega beams, piercing her abdomen.
Okay. Oh, so and then she's basically like almost killed. She's close to death, but not actually killed.
Yes, because
we can't kill Wonder Woman because she's very important to the next story.
Yeah. So Scion is pissed, and then Superman has to hold him back. Diana's mortally wounded right now. She lost a lot of her power set, and we're too far, and we're just outside Earth's orbit and stratosphere. You really want to risk her bleeding out just for a few lucky hits?
And then Scion grabs Wonder Woman and super speeds right back to Earth or to like the Watchtower and says, "I need a medic," or something like that.
Don't forget, Darkseid, you got lucky this time. Who would have thought the Kryptonian from another Earth would be reduced to a babysitter? Don't tempt me. If you ever make an attempt on this Earth again, you'll deal with me personally.
Or he goes, "You'll deal with me, and this time I won't hold him back."
You're welcome to try.
Really? Because the last time we tried that, which was 5 seconds ago, you got your ass kicked. So actually, yeah, sure. We'll try again. That's fine.
And then Cyborg comes in on comms. You do remember this is just one avatar, right? If he really wanted to, he could rally all the Darkseids together, including his combined forces, because Apocalypse is one of the few constants in the multiverse. Darkseid has a even larger army than he makes out to be. And he literally just had Kryptonian-infused parademon hybrids. You really want to piss off this guy?
And then Superman's like, "Okay, good point. Back to the Watchtower," and they head back, and the event ends with like them obviously Wonder Woman in the infirmary healing up, and then like basically Scion going to Superman saying, "Listen, dude, I almost lost her because of my arrogance. I need you to show me how to do this because obviously I'm not doing this the proper way.
It nearly took your girlfriend's death to get you to listen to reason, but I've handled hard cases before."
So, and this is where we establish. We can even have a book, a spin-off book called The Supermen, which is post-crisis mentoring Scion on how to be Superman.
Hold on. Give me just a moment. I'm
Yeah.
probably one
And
step
to be
ahead of you on
clear,
this, so the title needs a little work.
yeah, and to be clear, he goes, "I'm not trying to. I'm not replacing you. You're still Superman. I'm just teaching you how to be a better one." Yeah, exactly. That would essentially be the spin-off book. And then watch Scion goes, "Okay, fine, but I'm not wearing trunks."
Yeah, it's more of a wrestling reference than anything. You mean an outdated wrestling reference?
Yes, there you go. We have to have it. We can even have it where like Scion once calls post-crisis, "What's up, Trunks?"
You are not going to let that go, are you?
No, because it looks stupid.
No, I'm referring to in character.
No, I know I'm saying that. I'm like, why would you wear your trunks on the outside of your pants?
Again, wrestling used to be before that farce you see on WWE. It's an old wrestling attire.
Yeah, it's old. That's the key there. It's old. What does that have to do with being Superman?
But it's post-crisis Superman who's technically older than his doppelganger. You see where I'm going with this? It's a generational gap.
Overwatch, he goes, "Yeah, I don't know how you did things on your Earth, but here we wear our underwear on the inside of our pants."
This isn't underwear, but I get your point.
Yeah, that's my point, because I want to use this also to bring up like the parts of like because we can use this as like a meta discussion of the Superman fandom.
Yep. And I'll let Clark get the last line. Diana's great, but you missed out with Lois. She's more than just the uptight reporter, you know. No, I don't need to hear this. No, no. What? It's a simple conversation. No, I'm not doing this with you. Lois is a valued colleague, and I'm not. No, I'm not doing this.
And then watch Scion goes, "Actually, what happened is that you settled for Lois. You had a chance with Diana, but you settled for Lois."
Yeah, I'll let him have the last.
Because that's really what happened in the comics, though. When you think about it, when you really look at what happened, particularly post John Byrne Man of Steel, that's what happened. And then post Crisis, like, pauses, and then Superman goes, and Scion goes, "Exactly. It's not my fault. I actually knew what I wanted."
And then Batman's like brooding in the corner. I'm surrounded by children.
Yes, because that's 100% what Batman would say. I love that. And then Scion turns to Superman. "You know we're roughly the same age, right?"
Not really. I'm far more experienced than you. I don't look it, but I started almost a decade before before the league was even formed.
Yeah, and by the way, how many times has your home city been taken over by supervillains?
Now, the reason I say that is because I'm debunking the 5-year rule, which editorial tried to do. Instead, Batman's older than everyone else, so he's been active for roughly 10 years. Because a 10-year gap is easier to cement than to cram major storylines in than 5.
Yeah, but what about Green Lantern?
I mean, come on, that's a grand space odyssey. You really don't need to cram anything. You may not be able to do Blackest
Night! Sinestro Corps War!
Okay, you may not be able to do Blackest Night because of the cosmic shift.
Sinestro Corps War!
I'd keep Sinestro Corps War because that was pretty epic.
But you think they would reference, oh yeah, Yellow Lanterns invaded Earth. Because by the time they show up, they're like, it's the first time they're meeting each other. And I'm like, you'd think they would say, didn't we fight alongside each other against Yellow Lanterns?
Yeah, but I got red pulled by all the world's governments for that. I've kind of been off Earth since then as a compromise. You know, little Dark Knight's reference where Hal had to leave Earth.
Oh, yeah, that's true. That's good. All right, we'll go with that.
Seriously, hire us, DC. We thought of that in like 2 seconds.
We could fix your continuity like that.
But To make it a long story short, will we have tie-ins, or will this be a self-contained event?
Self-contained, or like 1 or 2 tie-ins. You would say we're not doing 8,000 tie-ins. I'm looking at you, Night Terrors. Jeez. Have you seen the tie-ins in that event?
I have.
It gave me a heart attack, dude.
Jesus Christ.
I know. So many tie-ins. But
where would Black Adam be in all of this?
He's just watching from conduct, going, mortals.
But I still think he'd fight off the pit. I would have one tie-in issue where Black Adam's fighting off the pit. God, that's a terrible name. Parademons. God.
What? Yeah, I know. It's a horrible thing. Just call them super parademons at the very least. Parademons is so stupid.
God, that's hard.
Yeah, we could have that because it's a global invasion, so they're going to be there. And you could have it where like he fights and gets his ass kicked by like one of the gods or like God Killer.
Yeah. But I definitely now how would Diana feel about all this? Because she's not only injured and recovering, she's benched while trying to cope from the loss of lightning. Does Zeus give the lightning back to her, or are we reaffirming the status quo?
I think at this point we should reaffirm it, and she understands sort of the fall. She doesn't want like the help of the gods anymore.
That's true, because there's always a price to pay.
There's always a price. She realizes that now, and then that will be played into in the following event where we have the God War. But basically, it's like she's like, I learned once that this is a bad idea. I'm not making that mistake again. Take your powers back. I don't need them.
You are very wise, Diana. However, I will part you one more gift. Be sure to return to Themyscira when you get a chance. There's a reason the Amazons were protected for so long as they were. Technically, I'm not allowed to restore those who have passed on. But for my daughter, and the fact that you saved my ass from Hera, I can bend the rules.
And then this is how we get Hippolyta back, and then she gets to meet Superman for the first time.
Scion.
It's Scion. Can you imagine that meeting? And Superman's meeting the warrior queen that is the mother of his girlfriend. You thought meeting the in-laws for the first time is very stressful.
Ooh.
Oh boy, particularly in a society that hates men. Yeah, this is going to turn out real well.
And as an Omega or epilogue issue, I'd have Scion and Wonder Woman get married at the end.
Yeah, I'm fine with that.
Yeah, because I think they deserve it, given everything they've been through.
At this point, you might as well, because the series goes on for like so long. We're at like the 4th or 5th volume at this point. Just do it. And and by the way, we're not going to pull a DC with Batcat. We're actually going to follow through on it. And let me ask you this, JT. How much would a comic sell if they actually did the wedding of Superman and Wonder Woman?
Oh, it would have sold gangbusters. You're definitely going to get at least 90,000 units.
I'm telling you, it works if you actually follow through on it. If the Batcat thing had actually followed through, I think it would have done better than it did.
But editorial was setting up 5G. It was either the death of Selina or the death of Alfred.
That's why I say Tom King is not as bad of a writer as people say he is. Because most of what people criticize him for in terms of story decisions were forced upon him by editorial.
Some of them, not all.
A good portion of, I would say the majority of them at least.
Okay, that's fair. That's fair.
Yeah, because he's made some really stupid story decisions, I'll give you that. But the ones that people criticize him for the most, the Wally West, the death of Alfred, the wedding, those are because of the editorial.
That's true. That's true. And they weren't going to shelve Selina.
No, they're not shelving Catwoman. If they want to continue
happen.
Selling comics, they can't shelve Catwoman. They can't shelve the mother figure of the Bat family, which, thinking of Selina as the mother figure of the Bat family is kind of a scary thought when you think about it.
Which really could have worked, because without Alfred, Selina would be Bruce's main confidant. It could have worked.
And by the way, maybe we could do a new direction basically on the whole Tom King Batman run. and the wedding. What happens if the wedding actually happened?
Now that's a long project.
Yeah, that's going to be a full-on live stream. We may have to get Nick involved.
Probably.
But so basically, yeah, this ends with like Superman and Wonder Woman getting married. And you think that at this point we should have the pregnancy reveal?
Save that for an annual. I wouldn't keep that within the confines of the main story because that's just pure overload.
I got it. It comes out on Mother's Day.
I can see that.
There you go. See, I'm thinking like DC would on what days can we release these comics.
Again, hire us, DC. It would probably never happen, but we'd be in a much better place.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Oh, yes. Trust me. Let me put it this way. DC would probably be, and I'm not tooting our own horn too much when I say this, would be in a better place than Marvel is right now if DC had us in charge.
Oh, definitely. We'd probably be a little limited because Convergence, DCU, and the kickoff to Rebirth was within the span of a year and a half.
Oh, I would have just done a complete hard reboot and just established a new universe on the side and said, here's where we're really going to, if you want all of your social justice stuff, that goes on this Earth. It's called Earth BS. But besides that, it's on this Earth. We're going to keep this one clean and pure. You can keep that stuff on that Earth.
I wouldn't have called it Earth BS, but that's a fair point.
Well, yeah, but
distinction.
All right, Earth SJW, fine, whatever. My point is, take all that has been holding down DC, put that on another continuity,
Elseworld book, and just leave
John
it there.
Be the main Superman and whatever, but keep the regular DC line the way DC's supposed to be.
I'll say it. 5G should have been an Elseworld story.
Oh, yes, because when you look at 5G, when you look at what was planned in 5G, it's a killer Elseworld story. A lot of the if you take it out of continuity, it sounds awesome. When you put it in continuity, though, that's when you start to feel like this is going to be DC for the foreseeable future. No, I don't want this.
But again, I think 5G was doomed from the start because it was just chasing headlines. They probably weren't going to go through with it if Dan DiDio wasn't making them to.
Well, I still think that they shouldn't have, that as soon as Dan DiDio was fired and they saw the reception of 5G, they should have just pulled it. I get that they spent money on it, but they spent money on something the fan base had resoundingly said, we don't want this.
It was already so far along, and then they had no real alternative. They've literally been spending the past 2 years trying to cement a rebuilt branding campaign.
Which, guess what? So far, it hasn't worked. Even Dawn of DC is not working that well.
Dawn of DC doesn't officially kick off till September. We just got a few early titles because of Lazarus Planet.
Mm-hmm.
But Dawn of DC does not officially kick off till September.
Mm-hmm.
But I would say it's, as it is right now, it's mid.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, we got Wally West and the Flash family. That's going strong. Green Arrow issue number 1's doing pretty. Oh, excuse me. Green Arrow number 1's doing pretty good. I just feel like it's going to be the end of the year before Dawn of DC really gets its stride.
I don't know. We'll see. Because here's the thing: a lot of people aren't jumping onto these books, and that's the problem. They need people to jump on in the beginning and stay on. They're not doing that.
I agree.
But I don't know. And then that's the issue there. It's just like DC has the potential, but they're not using it. That's my main issue, at least.
That's fair. And Marvel's just gone off the rails. Like I don't even know what's going on half the time anymore.
Oh yeah, I still don't know what the hell is going on with Marvel, particularly with the X-Men books.
Why did you have to reference Krakoa?
I had to. You should have played the clip. Why did you say that name? But that's besides the point.
But okay. Do the Amazons get a book? Because I feel like we can at least get 2 spinoffs out of this. You're already going to have the Superman and Scion book.
There's definitely going to be a mini series of Superman relating to the Amazons because they're going to have to interact with him, seeing as that he's married to their princess.
Yeah, definitely.
And you could see, like, have him be like what starts to change their mind about mankind. Because again, this is why I say he works fantastically as Wonder Woman's spouse, because he is the complete opposite of everything they're taught to believe about mankind.
In terms of the man hating or the mythological accuracy of the New 52 Wonder Woman in general?
In terms of the man hating, because remember, there are all things that men exploit women and such, and he has all the power in the world, but he's still a kind and gentle person.
But okay, okay. But some would say that could be better saved for a self-contained annual story or an anthology.
Well, it'd be like a 1 or 2 issue thing. It wouldn't be like a 6 to 12 issue mini series. In other words,
That's fair.
It'd be a shorter arc, maybe 4 issues max. We can get a nice trade out of it, but I don't think. But it wouldn't be that long. We're gonna have to address that at some point, obviously.
Would the gods attend? Because would the gods attend?
Yeah. So after you may kiss the bride, Superman kisses Wonder Woman. He looks at Apollo and winks at him because of what happened in the volcano.
And Apollo's just brooding in the corner.
Mm-hmm.
You agreed to hold your peace, Apollo. Not to mention,
and Superman goes, "You want to hit me with sunlight again? That was fun."
Yeah, even if Apollo did object, he's not winning that fight.
Yeah, there's nothing he can do to Superman that's going to do anything besides make him more powerful.
And speaking of Superman, even if New 52 is rebranding as Scion for the moment, I think Clark would come.
Oh, yeah. He 100%. Because he's essentially his little brother. You're going to miss your little brother's wedding?
Not to mention with Ma and Pa can't gone in the New 52, Clark's kind of all Scion has.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Exactly.
He'd be a bit begrudging about it because Scion pretty much caused this whole mess. Mm-hmm. But he agrees to go.
Can you imagine it's awkward? Because remember, this Superman has dated Wonder Woman in the past, and he's seeing a reality where he's marrying Wonder Woman. Where, like, this version of him is marrying Wonder Woman.
Lois would probably throw a scowl his way, but other than that, he's not going to say anything.
Yeah. Because she's Lois and she's always scowling. I have to, and it can even be officiated by Diana's mom or by Bruce, honestly, because I think isn't he able to do that?
As of Death Metal, he's able to do that, but I think this would have been way before that.
Okay, well, who could realistically do it? Probably, yeah. We'll just probably have the Amazon. I think it's more meaningful if Hippolyta marries the two.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then again, it's titled "The Marriage of Superman and Wonder Woman." We could get a nice Jim Lee cover that's basically harkening back to any of those Superman and Wonder Woman covers from Justice League, except Wonder Woman's in a wedding dress.
And maybe a few snapshots of all the Super Wonder pairings and Elseworlds like Kingdom Come.
Yeah, in the back, because they had this great thing. Actually, hang on. I have this Batcat issue that I think is a good idea. Jay, start talking while I go grab that.
Okay, basically, it's going to be this big spectacle, Superman and Wonder Woman. Well, Scion and Wonder Woman, I should say, to avoid confusion. And I just think it would be a good time. It'd be a good issue. It'd probably sell. Well, okay, factor New 52 economy, 2011, 2012. Well, this would have been 2015, 2016, just before Rebirth. Carry the 3. This probably would have sold like 65,000, 70 units. Maybe a bit more, depending on how well the God Killer arc was received. But I could definitely see this being a rounding success, or at the very least a decent seller. Very much so. And as for Batman, well, I think Batman would come for moral support, but he would have a very different outlook after the service.
So there's this Batcat issue that has it's a wraparound cover, and it has like all the different Batman and Catwoman from realities, and we can kind of have that, but like with all the ones that were actually together, like Kingdom Come, Wonder Woman and Superman, the John Byrne Superman and Wonder Woman that went on that date, all the different realities, even like the movies and like the animated ones.
There were animated ones?
we covered a few of those movies.
Oh, right. My fault. Oh, usually okay. DeCamu snapshots. Okay.
The camera
Now,
snapshots, all that, and there have been other versions in the comics that have ended up together. So the act of God, Superman, and Wonder Woman. There's any number of things that we can make a reference to and have Easter eggs.
except Injustice.
No, that's going away. And by the way, I would buy that issue, frame it, it goes on my wall.
Who would you have write it?
Probably Charles Soule, because he wrote the good arcs of Superman and Wonder Woman. And art by either Tony Daniel or Jim Lee. It really depends. And by the way, I think it's interesting that Jim Lee's the president of DC Comics now, because remember, he was one of the people that pushed for Superman and Wonder Woman to be a couple in New 52.
Sorry about that.
So I'm wondering, could they do something like that in a future continuity? Because let me put it this way, if James Gunn puts Superman and Wonder Woman together in the movies, which that could realistically happen if he wants to separate it from all different versions of Superman. Like what he could probably do is in Legacy, he dates Lois, like he kind of dates Lois, and then in the next movie, like whenever they introduce Wonder Woman and like in the Justice League movie, they can basically make it the New 52 Justice League, except obviously not fighting Darkseid because that's too close to Zack Snyder. And essentially they could say, hey, we dated, it didn't work, I'm going to date Wonder Woman now. That's kind of where they can go with that. And then what they could do, so my point is, because James Gunn has been very clear that he wants the comics and the movies to reflect like more or less the same. So what he could do, so the reason why I'm bringing this up is that if essentially James Gunn puts them together, it's likely that Jim Lee could at least do it like an Elseworlds book or reboot the continuity and bring that back. There's any number of ways. I'm saying there's any number of ways that this could happen. And then honestly, both are equally likely based on James Gunn's statements if we take his statements as 100% fact.
He has been fickle in the past.
Which that's all we have right now, though, because there's nothing else that we've seen or that he said that would tell us otherwise.
Definitely. But how would the league be, be impacted? Not only is Scion and Wonder Woman married, but they have a kid. They're going to have a kid.
Oh, I'm sure that they would all be like doting aunts and uncles, and it would basically, I could see it being like Avengers 200, except not Avengers 200. If you know what I'm talking about.
Oh God,
I had to bring that up for Jay's reaction, but in other words, they would be like, they'd be very overprotective of the child and stuff, and you know, it's kind of funny. Again, they would be like, yeah, what does this mean for us now that our two leaders are married? It puts them in a new like situation.
Definitely, but okay. Would we still have the New 52 JLA?
I don't think so, because I actually yes, because remember, Wonder Woman made a deal with the Greek gods to save Superman, and this was. And the JLA was designed in case the Justice League or like Superman and Wonder Woman ever did anything that compromised the security of the world. So if anything, this vindicates the creation of that team.
Even though Wonder Woman, Diana did what she did in an act of grief and turmoil and wasn't thinking straight, this would just mean Diana's volatile just like everyone else.
It's just, in other words, it would just mean that Diana's human, in other words.
Essentially.
But yeah, because you know how the government in this world is going to react to this.
Pretty much. That's a fair point.
Particularly Amanda Waller. Oh, you can imagine. I would love a panel of Steve Trevor watching the wedding on TV. I just want to see his reaction because I hate that character.
Come on, Steve Trevor's not that bad. A bit redundant, but I wouldn't say
he's useless. What does he do once Wonder Woman comes back to man's world?
Nothing. Argus, Task Force X.
Yeah,
wait, I'm thinking of Rick Flag, aren't I?
Rick Flag is Suicide Squad. He does lead Argus, but he doesn't do anything. He doesn't do anything of real impact in the DC universe. He's just there lading Argus. Okay.
It's hard to do commando stories when you have superheroes. Now, if Argus was given
That'll
its
be a
own
fantastic
title,
story, though. That's what I always say they should do with him.
but I will say this: even if it would be a good laugh to see Steve Trevor, I don't think the Amazons would televise that, but if they did, it would be a good laugh to see Steve Trevor's reaction, just jugging a beer, just sitting on his couch.
And remember, he's in a bar, the same bar where he met Green Arrow, and he's watching this happen. He goes, "Bartender, another beer."
On me. You might well. All right, keep them coming. Keep them coming. Don't bother. Don't worry, Steve. It's on me.
Oh yeah, Green Arrow it shows. Oh yeah, because he would still be leading the JLA. Okay, that works. I like that. And would Catwoman be a maid of honor? I don't think so, because I don't think New 52 Wonder Woman knew Catwoman.
No, they wouldn't be close like that. Maybe Donna Troy, because they were kind of like, okay, before Rebirth, you did have a New 52 of Donna Troy who was kind of a usurper. So that was a whole thing. And the Finch.
Here's the thing. I'm trying to say, I was thinking maybe we don't have that did not happen, because we're going to have Donna Troy and then make the daughter of Superman and Wonder Woman Donna Troy.
No, I got it. We named the daughter. She's essentially New 52 Donna Troy, but we name her after Hippolyta or after one of the Greek goddesses.
We can just name her after Hippolyta. That works.
Yeah, Hippolyta.
That's a nice tribute. And yeah, so there you go. That works. Oh, yeah. We screwed the Superman fans and named her Lois. I'm only kidding. Don't worry.
Yeah, we're definitely going to get some heat for that.
I have to. That's part of my brand.
But I have nothing against the Lois Lane. It just be a dig at the readers if you name her after Lois.
Yeah, and I don't want to do that. I'm not a Peter J. Tomasi. Yes, I'm never going to let that go. Because that guy gets way too much. Everyone's like, oh, he's the greatest writer of all time. No, he's not. And he openly doesn't like a certain portion of the fan base because they disagree with his opinion on comic books. You're an adult man.
Okay, Jared is officially triggered. But
I'm sorry. I had to at that point. I was set up so well. But in other words, again, this event would at least sell, I'd say moderately well. I agree. I think it would sell more than 60,000. I could see it selling highest 80,000 at least.
Okay, you got to look at 2015, 2016 market, because this would have been around the time of DCU. This definitely would have propped up numbers, but I wouldn't say it would have been 80,000 units plus, probably 70, 75.
Well, here's why I say that, because when you look at the sales of New 52, Superman and Wonder Woman, and again, I did a video about this, it was like close to that consistently for a good many months. Plus, you're having the clickbait title of The Wedding of Superman and Wonder Woman, which we have never, ever had in the main continuity.
80,000, 85,000 units at most. I could not see this going to 90.
No. I don't think it would go to 90 at this point, because, again, you have by the way, in our universe, the DCU never happened.
DCYOU.
DCYOU never happened. We're not doing that. We are not doing that.
There was a few good titles, like the wrap-up of the Earth 2 saga, the Robin Patrick Gleason run. I'd keep those.
That happens, but Superman and Batman did not lose their powers and ride a motorcycle or get a bunny armor. That's not happening.
Okay, so you're removing Robin War. All right.
Mm-hmm.
That's fair.
We ain't having that. So that's and then the story ends, and then I would say the cliffhanger leads into the God War.
Definitely.
And that's what we're calling it, Justice League God War.
To wrap this up, we have a Wonder Woman and Scion miniseries, which would essentially be Superman Wonder Woman Volume 4, a prelude arc with essentially a DC-adjacent Kratos, and this all comes to a head in God War. which would be another dark side invasion.
Yeah, essentially. And it would also be a good way to like harken back to, because it would be, again, speaking of it being like a harken back to the dark side invasion, it's kind of like hashtag full circle for the first arc of New 52 Justice League when they first met.
Oh yeah, it would be a callback to Justice League War. It'd be full circle.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, there you go. And it's called and the comic, by the way, is called Justice League Origin. The movie's called War. Yeah, so there you go. Hashtag full circle. Just wanted to put that in there. But and then I think, and the war arc would probably end with the birth of Donna Troy. Would it end with the birth of Donna Troy? And then the third arc is the dark side thing.
Yeah, because okay, the dark side thing. That's gonna be okay. Which dark side are you referring to? God War? Or are you referring to the Hippolyta's abduction?
Hippolyta's abduction.
Okay, that'll be after God War.
Yeah, because I figured after God War there would obviously be a time skip because we have to have her at the proper age. Because if she's just being born at the end of that storyline, yeah.
We then cut to DC Rebirth. A couple months pass, and let's say if we're gonna match with a preteen John Kent, Hippolyta's like 8 or 9.
Mm-hmm. And yes, Tevia, I know you're gonna put in the comments about Super Sons. We know that.
We're used to it by now. We're used to it.
We're used to it. It's all good, brother.
But I think that's a good place to leave it. Jared, anything else you want?
I would say so. It's a great. I like how we're basically building our own DCU that probably would sell more than whatever DC is doing right now. You should have put us in charge of 5G. We could have given you a new universe that people actually want, as opposed to what you almost gave us.
What could have been?
What could have been? But yeah, I agree. I think that's a good plan, a good place to leave it.
And next new direction. Now, next new direction will actually be a character piece. Wallace West Kid Flash. Yeah. Hold on, let me get the thumbnail pulled up.
That works for me.
I'm sorry, I just really had. I mean, with the recent success and all these constant follow-ups, and if you've seen the thumbnail already, you have to admit it's a pretty good thumbnail.
Yeah, it is. I've seen it before. It looks really good.
I couldn't let it go to waste.
Yeah, I'm 100% fine with that, because that's actually a very interesting time, particularly for Flash fans, because again, particularly for Wally West fans, because remember, he was the Wally West of the New 52 until they got backlash and said that's not Wally West. Which is why I still say a lot of heroes.
Yeah, but I feel like they did.
Which is why I say a lot of Heroes in Crisis, had that not happened, I think it would have been received a lot better.
Definitely, because I don't even feel like original Wally West deserved as much baggage as he got, at least by editorial.
No. Yeah, nice. So, I love that. That's a good one.
This will be our next topic. I know we got kind of roped into Super Wonder and Scion, but I feel like maybe I'll do a follow-up to this if this gets decent traction. Mm-hmm. But next week is going to be
tie it into our universe, though.
Yeah.
Maybe remains the new direction verse.
All right, but stay tuned for next time on New Direction, where we talk about Wallace Ace West.
I like that. That works.
All right, and Jared, where can people find you? Where can people find you, and what you got coming up on the channel?
You can find me at Comics League JT on Twitter, Comics League on YouTube, Comics League 2020 on Instagram. Right now, I have on the video a discussion with Nick from the Phoenix Press on Justice League Night in Shadows. It's the arc where Wonder Woman meets Hugh Hefner. And yeah. When you watch it and you see like Flash goes to the Playboy Mansion, he goes, yeah. I read the magazine for the articles. I'm like, I know what you're referencing.
Yeah, I remember that. I remember that episode.
Yeah, I have currently. I have a video up examining the what was it supposed to do? Just let them die scene from Man of Steel, which I still say that was taken completely out of context. And tomorrow, by tomorrow I mean Wednesday, because we're recording this on a Tuesday. I have a discussion with Galata Comics on the different on both promoting his books and a discussion about how European comics are different than American comics. It should be a great discussion. Under Two Capes, Nick and I came up with some ideas on like some on like some topics. I'm not necessarily gonna bring them up yet because I like them to be a surprise. But so that's what I got coming out.
Sounds like fun, man. Sounds like fun. And also, you can catch us on Taladia Plays channel for the reaction to Superman and Lois season 3, episode 9. And of course, my Batman Telltale series playthroughs. I believe part 3 will come out either sometime today or tomorrow. I'm not sure on that. I'll probably post on my community tab if I remember.
It's all good.
But have a great day, everyone. You guys rock, and flame off.